morning came the same way it always did, soft light spilling across polished floors, quiet footsteps echoing through the halls, the distant clink of porcelain and silver. Nothing had changed, and yet something felt wrong. Rosalie adjusted the tray in her hands, her fingers tightening slightly along the edge. It wasn't heavy, it shouldn't have been, but her arms felt slower, like there was a delay between thought and movement. Not just exhaustion. Something else. Something she couldn't name. She kept walking, steps measured, posture lowered just enough to seem small and forgettable. But today, the act felt thinner, like it might tear if someone looked too closely.
"You're going to drop that."
The voice came from behind her. Rosalie startled just enough. The tray dipped before she steadied it again. "I won't," she said quickly, letting out a small, embarrassed laugh. One of the older maids gave her a long look.
"You almost did."
"I didn't though," Rosalie replied, softer now. The woman exhaled.
"You're worse today."
Rosalie smiled lightly. "I'm always worse." The maid scoffed but didn't argue, and Rosalie moved on, but the words stayed with her. "You're worse today." She didn't like how true that felt. The garden was already awake, sunlight filtering through leaves, scattering soft patterns across the stone. The air smelled faintly of roses, familiar, grounding. It should have helped. It didn't.
"Rosalie."
Clara's voice cut through the quiet, bright and warm. She waved from the gazebo, smiling. Rosalie approached, adjusting her grip on the tray. "I'm here, Your Highness."
"You're late again,"
Clara said, though there was no real scolding in her tone. Her gaze lingered, softer than usual.
"You don't look well."
"I'm fine." Too quick. Clara's brows pulled together.
"You said that yesterday."
"And I was fine yesterday."
"That doesn't sound convincing."
Rosalie smiled faintly. "I'll try harder next time." Clara sighed, stepping closer, studying her face like she was trying to read something deeper. Rosalie held still, not stiff, not defensive, just careful.
"You feel different,"
Clara said quietly. The words landed heavier than they should have. Rosalie tilted her head slightly. "Different how?" Clara hesitated, then shook her head.
"I don't know. Just different."
"You are."
The voice came from behind Clara, low, even, certain. Rosalie didn't turn. She didn't need to. Her grip tightened slightly. Crown Prince Kael stepped into the gazebo, his presence shifting the air without effort. Dark uniform, precise posture, eyes that didn't wander, they assessed. And now, they settled on her.
"You're late."
He said. "I apologize, Your Highness."
"You always do."
"Yes, Your Highness." A pause, short, but deliberate. His gaze dropped to her hands. Rosalie resisted the urge to pull them back.
"You're slower."
He said. Her breath almost caught, but didn't. "I'm not sure what you mean."
"You reacted late just now."
Clara blinked.
"Kael, she didn't."
"She did."
His tone didn't rise. It didn't need to. He stepped closer. Not enough to alarm anyone else. Enough. Rosalie felt it immediately, the shift, the pressure of his attention narrowing. This wasn't dismissal. This was focus.
"You almost dropped the tray earlier."
He continued. "I didn't."
"You almost did."
A beat. Then, quieter, sharper.
"That's not the same."
Something in her chest shifted. She lowered her gaze slightly. "I'll be more careful."
"That would be advisable."
Another pause. Then,
"You should sleep more."
Rosalie blinked once. It wasn't the words. It was the delivery. Kael didn't say things like that. Not to her. Clara looked just as surprised.
"Kael."
He didn't respond. His eyes were still on Rosalie. Still watching. Still measuring. Rosalie forced a small smile. "I'll keep that in mind, Your Highness." Her voice was steady. Normal. But something inside her didn't settle. For a brief moment, something else almost slipped out. "I can't. I don't have time. If I stop, people die." The thought rose. And stopped. Like it hit something solid inside her. She bowed instead. "I'll prepare fresh tea." Then stepped back. Not too fast. Not too slow. Just enough. She didn't breathe properly until she left the garden. The hallway felt colder. Quieter. Safer. She leaned lightly against the wall, fingers trembling before she curled them inward. That was too close. She replayed it, the timing, the distance, the way he noticed. You reacted late. Her jaw tightened. He was right. And that was the problem. Her body wasn't keeping up anymore. The exhaustion wasn't just making her tired, it was slowing her down. If that continued. Her gaze dropped to her hands, then lifted again. No, she couldn't afford that. Not here. Not now. Back in the garden, Clara watched the path Rosalie had taken.
She's really not okay,
She said quietly. Kael didn't answer immediately. His gaze lingered in the same direction.
She's different.
Clara added.
Yes.
Immediate. Certain. Clara glanced at him.
Different how?
A pause. Kael's eyes narrowed slightly, not suspicion, not fully. Something sharper. More precise.
I don't know yet.
Not frustration. Not doubt. Calculation.
You're overthinking it.
Clara said.
Am I?
He finally looked away, thoughtful.
People don't change without reason.
Or maybe they're just tired.
Fatigue doesn't alter reaction timing that precisely.
Clara frowned.
You're being strange.
Kael didn't deny it. His gaze shifted briefly to his gloved hand.
It's nothing.
He said. But it didn't sound like nothing. Night came quietly. Too quietly. Rosalie stood in the shadows of a corridor, her breathing steady but shallow. The palace felt heavier after sunset now, like something unseen pressed against its walls. Waiting. She adjusted her grip on the spirit blade. It responded faintly, a soft light flickering beneath its surface. Weaker than before. Or maybe that was just her. A sound. Subtle. Ahead. She moved silent, precise, no clumsiness, no hesitation. Then stopped. Just for a fraction of a second. Barely noticeable. But enough. The figure ahead shifted, not fully turning, just enough to suggest awareness. Rosalie's grip tightened. No, not again. She stepped forward. But the moment was gone. The presence slipped deeper into the corridor, vanishing like it had never been there. Gone. Her hand lowered slowly. Her breath came uneven. Too slow. She was too slow. The realization settled heavier than any wound. Rosalie closed her eyes briefly, then opened them again, sharp, focused. But beneath it, something had changed. A line. Thin. Invisible. And it hadn't been there before. Morning wasn't loud. It didn't crash into the palace or demand attention. It simply existed wrong, like a rhythm shifted half a beat off and left there, unnoticed by everyone except the one person who couldn't stop hearing it. The servants' corridor moved as it always did, footsteps in clean patterns. Rosalie stepped into it and missed. A shoulder clipped hers. Porcelain rattled. The tray tilted just enough to turn a small mistake into something visible. Careful. Too late. Her grip tightened after it had already happened, fingers correcting something that should have been corrected already. Cup slid. One tipped. She caught it. For a fraction of a second, everything aligned with unnatural precision. No tremor. Rosalie stilled. Then, deliberately, almost lazily, she let the cup fall. It clinked back unevenly, tea spilling over the rim, a mess that didn't need to exist, but now did. She blinked slow, like she had just caught up. A maid frowned.
You caught that.
Rosalie tilted her head slightly. Did I? A pause.
No, you didn't.
Oh. The corridor resumed, but the moment didn't disappear. It stretched behind her as she walked, thin and invisible. Because her body had moved first. And she had followed. She adjusted her steps again, aligning carefully this time, but the feeling stayed, lodged beneath everything. The halls opened into light, polished and controlled, everything in place, which only made the misalignment sharper. Rosalie slowed at the turn. Someone stepped into her path. She stopped. A second too late. Not enough to collide, just enough to linger.
Watch where you're.
The maid stopped, blinking. Rosalie stared. Sorry. The word came out right. Just not on time.
Right.
the maid muttered, moving past. Rosalie continued, fingers tightening slightly around the tray. The pause hadn't been intentional. That was the problem. Nothing felt intentional anymore.
You're drifting again.
Rosalie turned. Clara stood nearby, relaxed but watching closely.
You've been doing that all morning.
Clara said.
Stopping half a second after everything else.
I'm just tired, Rosalie replied, the answer already there before the thought.
That's what you said yesterday. And the day before.
Rosalie exhaled faintly. Then I've been tired for multiple days. Very consistent of me.
That's not consistency. That's concerning.
It can be both. Clara ignored that, glancing at her hands.
You're holding that too tightly.
Rosalie noticed only after being told and loosened her grip slightly. It's fine.
You should rest.
I can't.
That wasn't a suggestion.
It wasn't a possibility. Clara frowned.
Rosalie.
I'll be fine. Too fast. Too firm. The words came first, the tone following a fraction late. Rosalie noticed. Late. I mean, I just have work. Clara went quiet, studying her. Then softly,
You're doing it again.
What?
Catching up.
Footsteps approached, steady, precise. Rosalie recognized the pattern before she looked. She still looked. Crown Prince Kael turned the corner. His gaze moved as it always did, observing without effort, pausing on Clara before her hands were steady. Too steady.
You're definitely not fine.
Clara murmured. Rosalie didn't answer. Because this time, she wasn't sure how fast she could. Night came quietly. The palace dimmed, and Rosalie moved through it as she always did, silent, controlled, but the wrongness followed. The corridor ahead was empty. Still, but not empty. She stopped. Listened. Then, a shift. Not sound. Presence. A figure stood at the far end. The advisor. Rosalie stepped forward, grip tightening around the spirit blade as it flickered faintly.
You didn't finish it.
No response. The advisor tilted his head. Too smooth. She moved first, closed the distance, struck. It stepped back. Just enough. The blade missed. They stilled. You're learning, Rosalie said. The advisor smiled. Small. Wrong. Then it turned and walked away. Rosalie didn't follow. Because something in her body hesitated. A delay. By the time she moved, the corridor was empty. Silence pressed in. It didn't attack. Her voice was quieter than intended. Because it hadn't needed to. The thought formed slowly. Too slowly. Her fingers curled late. Why? No answer came. And for the first time, that absence felt deliberate.